Hello everyone, Kushti is here. Enjoy the mini summit, and my talk will be about proof of work and DeFi. So how can we use proof of work in context of smart contracts run on the Ergo blockchain? So let's start with basics of proof of work. So proof of work is very simple cryptographic primitive which basically works as follows. So we have some meaningful message M, then we add some usually meaningless and random string nonce, then we are getting a hash from message with nonce being added, and if hash is less than some target value, then yeah, our work is passing validation. So depending on the target value, we can do more work or less work. We can also change t with time, which is called difficulty readjustment in the context of blockchain. And proof of work was initially proposed back in 90s, around mid-90s, initially mostly to combat email spam, but there were other proposals, for example Minimint from Rivest and Shamir, the greatest minds in cryptography, by the way, and they proposed to use proof of work to mint currency of internet to be used in micropayments. Then Bitcoin appeared around 2009. So in Bitcoin, proof of work is used to generate blocks, so to commit transactions in an entity called block, and we are doing proof of work our a block by iterating our the nonce field of it, and yeah, as I said before, we are changing difficulty to have a block every 10 minutes. And since 2009, we are studying proof of work as a consensus mechanism, and now it's known pretty well. And there are many advantages of proof of work as a consensus mechanism. So it is simple, it is well studied, its problems are known, there are many proposals how to improve different aspects of proof of work as a consensus mechanism. It seems proof of work is a solid foundation to produce scarce money, so digital gold like Bitcoin and Ergo. And also proof of work can be seen as fair and more or less anonymous distribution mechanism. Right, and for about 10 years, we also have proof of work as an industry with mining pools, ASIC manufacturers, mining software producers, profit calculators, some big companies in the space, some of them made IPOs. So there are different media covering mining space specifically, and so on. And what is the current state of proof of work industry? As we know, since Ethereum merge, GPU mining is in a state of crisis. Most of GPU cryptocurrencies were not profitable to mine after the merge, and I think this is still the case. If you do not have free or almost free electricity, at least. Bitcoin mining is not in a good shape as well. Because of some events in China as well as other countries. Currently also Bitcoin price is not so good for the development of the proof of work industry. So in case of Bitcoin, this is about ASICs, right? So producing ASICs and put them around places with cheap electricity and so on. There were a lot of dramatic events around Bitcoin mining since 2019 even. It's somehow demonstrating progress still, but with a lot of dramatic events. All right. Then the question is, what can we do to maybe use proof of work on smart contracts layer? To bring additional stream of revenue or streams of revenue to GPU miners as well as other miners. There are many attractive properties of proof of work, and if we are talking about DeFi, fair distribution is definitely one of them, one of most attractive properties of proof of work. And in Ergo we have some very novel solutions for miners. For example, what we are calling in Ergo community fair initial mining offering, FIMO. Let's get into details. Emission in Ergo is done via smart contracts, so all the ERCs explicitly exist since before the Genesis block, and then those ERCs are not available immediately, but rather they are locked with the contract, and every block the contract unlocks block reward according to emission schedule. Then we have pretty much the same as in Bitcoin and other proof of work cryptocurrencies. But in case of Ergo, Emission is not hard-coded in protocol clients, and ERCs are not appearing out of thin air. Rather, we have precisely defined contracts, and this contract is not different from other contracts, and this has a lot of advantages. So we can test this contract separately from the code, and emission logic could be checked by people are not familiar with protocol clients and languages used to code them. We have a better understanding, better coverage, and it's also actually harder to change the emission schedule. So Yeah, there are many advantages, but also what's interesting is that emission contracts could be so initial emission contract could be reused for other tokens, and also could be modified in different ways. And this is the real thing. So getblock.io mining pool is running sub pools which allow to mine Flux, Neta, Comet tokens in addition to Ergo. So this brings additional profit to miners. And this is, well, in case of launching new tokens, a good alternative to airdrops. Right, also very simple. So for a team launching a token, there is no need to combat spam accounts and so on. So usually hard problems in airdrops, they're solved automatically, and distribution is then fair. So everyone needs to do work, right? So basically buying lottery tickets with hardware and electricity costs being spent to participate in proof of work lottery to get tokens via FIMO. All right, but that's what we do have now, and actually in future we can have even more interesting things. We already discussed some on forum. For example, market-driven emission, and the idea is as follows. So in addition to just emission logic, we can use an additional input from reference market, for example from Uniswap, or like automated market makers liquidity pool, and then we can use an input from market, for example, to reduce emission based on price in the reference market, assuming that this price is reflecting the true price, due to arbitrage. This would be the case probably. We can reduce emission then when for some time price on the reference market is below some target price, and if price on the market is above the target for enough time, then we can raise the target eventually also. Which basically means that emission is not set in stone, but rather would be changed according to market conditions, which actually could lead to interesting games between miners supplying new tokens to the markets, including the reference market, and buyers, right? I think in the future we will see some contracts and some interesting games, maybe new problems with such contracts. New interesting problems as usually. All right, next property, attractive property of proof of work is hardness. So to get results, you need to do some work, right? And this work, average expected amount of work could be set by setting a target, right? There are many applications. So, for example, vanity NFTs. And actually, it's a continuation of old vanity Bitcoin address idea from 2012, maybe. Right, so there were, and I guess still around, some vanity address generator. So, for example, if you want to have a Bitcoin address like one Microsoft, somewhat else, then yeah, you can get such address by iterating our an input, and yeah, after a certain amount of work done on average, so you will generate such an address. And now we have NFTs, so some of them well, are rare in terms of items NFTs do represent, but we also can have, let's say, technical rarity by doing some work. So basically combining well, vanity from the real world with well, technical vanity. So in Ergo, token ID is well, ID of first minting transaction input, and then you can iterate our some field of that transaction to get token ID with certain properties, and then yeah, you can have an NFT representing not just something rare or awesome in real world, but also having some math rarity. Right, and there are some vanity NFT generators on Ergo. For example, CYTI, by the way, Ergo hack winner, and you can play with this application, and you can generate your own vanity NFT with it. All right, and well, what's not done yet, but definitely can be built and used is well, some access tokens, sort of access tokens. So we can imagine a smart contract which can issue tokens for work done and presented to the contract. And then such tokens can be used instead of utility tokens sold, right? If well, there is no reason to sell the tokens, right? For some reasons. And yeah, such tokens can be used then as kind of utility tokens. Yeah, so for example, we can imagine that they can be used to register a name in a name system. Right, and then miners can actually have additional profit by generating such tokens. And yeah, they also can sell them on secondary markets, which is, well, again, not yet done, but sounds interesting. Then yeah, let's talk about how smart contracts can be used to improve decentralization on the consensus layer. So decentralized pools were proposed a long time ago, actually, initially in the context of Bitcoin, There was a P2P pool proposal using a dedicated chain to store shares. Then there was a paper on a smart pool for Ethereum, but it was too expensive to be launched on the Ethereum blockchain, and as far as I know, there is no any practical instantiation yet. I mean, there were no such instantiation on the Ethereum itself, and there are no such contracts on Ethereum like blockchains which are still on proof of work, such as Ethereum Classic and Ethereum POV. All right, but in Ergo there are now certain attempts to build a new generation of smart decentralized pools empowered by SNISPs, so succinct non-interactive share proofs, and shares, or better even proofs of shares to be stored on layer 2. I guess there will be another talk during the summit about SNISPs specifically, and GetBlock is working on that, so let's wait for decentralized pools, and this would be a great success in case of successful application like that running in the wild. That's enough for my talk, I guess, but there are other applications if we are talking about proof of work and DeFi. There is a GoUpSwap application still in development, which allows to automatically convert mining profits into stable coins, which could be especially good for some jurisdictions to simplify taxation and so on. Right, then what was discussed but still not done, for both of Ergo and also Ethereum, I don't know about any contracts run on Ethereum. Before merge and now on Ethereum Classic, Ethereum POV, so on. So contracts on mining hash rate, when miners can do financial contracts with conditions on future hash rate to stabilize the future income. There were some proposals in Ergo community, but still there are no any applications about that. Then let's not forget about possibility for contractual layer for smart contracts to modify properties of the consents protocol. There are different possible applications here, right? When Ergo had non-outsourceable proof of work, we shown that non-outsourceability for the Ergo and for all the practical non-outsourceability proposals can be bypassed by using smart contracts, collateralized smart contracts. With miners voting on the blockchain, we can imagine smart contracts to be used to grease miners, to bribe them to vote for certain things, and so on. It's still very actively developed topic proof of work and DeFi, and we can imagine a lot of new interesting proposals and applications here. And let's hope for successful development and for more profits for miners supporting decentralized networks. Thank you for your attention.